Good morning, afternoon and night YouTube. I'm vlogging again. You might think I'm a little bit close to the camera. I am. I haven't vlogged in a while. Made some other videos. Places I went. Things that I'd read. What else stuff that was inspiring me. Been listening to a lot of OK Computer lately. And that one kind of resonated with me. So I thought in this postmodern culture it'd be nice to reinvent it. Oh, that was what I wanted to talk about. Poetry. Some of you might know that I write poetry. Some of you might not, because the Venn diagram of people who read my poetry on my blog and the people who watch my videos is actually just a regular Venn diagram. So I write poetry, and sometimes I also talk to myself in small rooms. Both of them are what most people, including myself, would call self-expression, and I think that's very important. Because otherwise you'd be bottling everything up. And I know from experience that that's a terrible idea. Without wanting to touch on the heavier stuff, because you can find all this and more in my poetry, sometimes stuff kinda sucks. And I think that if you can express that to another person, or even just yell at the void that is the internet, then it'll make you feel better. Or even if you're just putting it in a little notebook, the words that you think are right, so that you can express it, that's good, I think. My school, I'm quite lucky, has quite a good creative writing department, particularly in poetry. The week that I was conspicuously absent from the internet, no one remembers that, it was when I read you the Neil Gaiman short story. I was in Wales on a writing course. It was excellent. And I learned some things that continue to inform what I write, even though, I'll be honest, the biggest influence on my writing lately has been Paige Gresty's Every September since 2005. I'd like to talk very briefly about Paige's poetry. Can I call her Paige? I'm going to assume yes. It's very modern. That sounds like a criticism, but it really isn't, because I think that modernity is not a bad thing. Paige's poetry is very real, and I really like it because of that. I feel that it's very direct, which is interesting, because some of the poems are not very direct at all. One of them has this poem, prose, whatever. It has this very strict kind of stream of thought, and then it has lots of footnotes where it goes off in tangents. And not only is that very effective, but it does remind me, although better, of something that I'm trying to do, that I encase things in brackets that I think are relevant but not essential. It doesn't reject the internet, none of her work does. She has a Tumblr and a blog, and it's an excellent Tumblr, and it contains a lot of her new work and some of her old work, and I recommend that you follow her. She's beliciabeacons.tumblr.com. It's difficult to put this in a way that doesn't sound damning, but it doesn't apologise for itself. It doesn't say, well, I feel all these things, but I'm going to make them dreadfully poetic and generalised and beautiful, because a lot of the time, life does pretty much suck. And you can see that in my poetry, I hope. What it does is the same as what I'm trying to do, and what a lot of people on the alt-lit scene, and the postmodern scene, and the internet poetry scene, and all these other words and categories and genres. I think it's just trying to say, this is the world that we live in now. And I'm trying to do that from a very self-absorbed perspective. I'm not trying, I'm very self-absorbed. But I think that's been inspiring me lately. That I have these thoughts that I can vocalise, and it's healthy to vocalise them. And I do it largely through words. I do it through my poetry. I write one every day. But occasionally I vocalise these things through other things. I do music. I wrote this piece for a drama assignment. I know, it sounds convoluted. We were setting Dr. Faustus to music, and I think it went down pretty well. But I wrote this piece to go underneath the reading of the contract. And I sent it to a friend of mine, and she said, Tom, I think, is this you putting in how you feel? Because it starts quite quiet and restrained, and then it grows, and then it roars, and then it completely loses control. Without wanting to alarm you about my own mental state, I think that's pretty accurate. What I'm saying is, I don't know why I'm saying this, because I have no influence, but I personally have found that making stuff helps. Vocalise, share, even if it's bad art. Tom Milsom said this, and he said it much more eloquently, and much less morbidly than I did. But make stuff, even if it's bad, because you won't be the worse off for it. And if you don't make stuff or say stuff, then you will be the worse off. So I didn't mean to make a point with this video, because I realised a long time ago that the 45 of you that there are, there's no significant influence there. But I'm just saying, you know, I like making stuff. I like poetry. I like other kinds of writing. I'm writing a play at the moment. It's very weird and slightly depressing, but I'm writing a play because it's something that I want to try, and I think that it would help me to get out a different set of feelings that I have. A lot of my poetry is about myself, my own emotions, but I think my play is kind of tackling my relationship with others. I don't know, that sounds like elaborate, wishy-washy drama student thing. But give it a go. When I was thinking about making this video, I was worried that whatever I talked about, no one would like it, or it would be too short because I wouldn't have enough to say. And then I rewatched Tom Wilson's video, Make Bad Art, or something to that effect. And it doesn't really matter, because I like doing this. I haven't vlogged in ages, and it's been really nice. I do care about what other people have to say about my work, but I like it, and I like making it.